Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for joining another comparison video. We're going to take a look at Days Gone here on the Steam OLED and the Steam LCD at the bottom. This is Sony's take at a post-apocalyptic, I guess it would be zombie infestation open world survival game. So survival is a very tough thing to say because it's not really a survival game. It's more of an action, like I guess it'd be in a way kind of like a Grand Theft Auto open world rather than, because you have only similar, very specific things that you can craft. It's not like you need to build houses and stuff like that to survive. Nothing of that nature, but interesting take on it. In terms of the properties and compatibility here, nothing you have to do special. The game should just run. It has for all the other videos. And if we look at the controllers, everything is a normal layout. So let's go ahead and jump in. We'll talk a little bit more about the game. So, as I said, it's more of a survival game without the kind of have to create a base or you have to build a house. It's more like crafting in terms of like weapons. It does have the weapons that break as you're playing. After so much use, you have fire Molotov cocktails that you have to replenish and health kits you have to remake and build and stuff like that. In a way, it's, I guess if you took like a open world and put it with The Last of Us, that's kind of what you're dealing with. Although a little bit more upgrading and stuff like that. You have a motorcycle you're dealing with, so it's got its own little place. And it's got a really interesting story, I thought. It's Deacon, and then there's Boozer, who is his buddy, and then Deacon's wife. And there's this larger story of how the world is evolving or revolving around those three people. Really Deacon and his wife, mainly is the story. But Boozer's there. He becomes somebody you're definitely, emotionally tied to in terms of a character build and, character dialogue, story, things like that. Overall, it's a good game. I enjoyed it. I don't know if Sony enjoyed it so much because they never actually wanted to do another one. So there's no second one ever, as far as I know, in play. Ben Studios is still around, but they're not able to go and make another one because, being a Sony studio, they're kind of owned by them. They have to take direction, provide what they think is going to be the best thing. Sony says, yes, we're going to pay for it or not. And if they're not going to pay for it, there's really no way for them to make another one. But what we got was good. So looking at Days Gone on the device, you've got the OLED on the top, the LCD on the bottom here. I've got everything set to low, so let's just go down and look at options here. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Options, there we go. And let's go over to our display. So we're running, of course, the 1280 by 800. It does support full resolution for these devices. You've got 60 hertz respectively and 90 hertz at the top. In terms of like what the refresh rate is, you've got VSync turned on. We've also got unlimited frame rates, of course 90 and 60 setting there. And I do have HDR turned off. It just makes it easier for recording. If I was to turn on, it might throw some really bright spots and stuff like that in areas that would throw the camera off, and I'm trying to keep it to where it's getting the best presentation for each screen, LCD screen here, OLED here. If we go to our settings, we've got everything set to low on both devices, and that's equal. And we'll be basically starting at the same point. I've got a save for us that we can, mess around with and take a look. Now it is near a zombie encampment, so we may end up dying. But this will give a representation of the device's performance. Overall, spoiler alert, it plays pretty well on both. There's not a major concern. The LCD doesn't really hit the 60 frame per second at any point. I think maybe once in a while it'll hit it. The OLED does hit it, and we'll do a pretty good job with it. So let's get on our bike here. And let's just get out of here. How can I do this? I'm gonna get us like away from the zombies.
Place you want to call home, yeah.
We'll go up this trail here. I'll bring the other bike along. Unfortunately, you have to do everything
Finish burning out these nests.
with these by hand. I hope Deacon stops. Yep, he stopped. Okay. So we can kind of see. We'll go the exact same, well, similar path. Whoops. We'll go back up this hill here. And I think we want to get close to this area, right about here. There we go. So you can see we're getting a little bit better frame rate performance, maybe about a 3 to 4 frames per second, but it generally bounces around. But you will see, like, hey, there's a little bit more performance. Why it's gone down to 6, I don't know. That's interesting. I think it's probably because there's some stuff going on in the background, like updating. You see the people, like for Steam, you're getting the notifications of people playing and stuff like that. That's probably where that came from, that little dip. If you left downloads occur in the background, it's obviously going to cause an impact to the processor as well. So you'll see that actually dropping down. I got a lot of friends on Steam, so you'll see people playing games. It's a Sunday. Not much we can do. But in terms of processor usage, we're looking at about the same in terms of GPU. But in terms of power consumption, the OLED being a little bit more efficient chipset, is only running about 22 watts. We're running about 26, 27 watts down here. So this is really going to eat the battery. On a full battery, you're probably going to get an hour and a half. On a full battery on the OLED, you're probably going to get 2.5 hours. Maybe a little bit better than that. But this gives you an idea. But the frame rate is pretty close. There's not a real big difference. If we look around, you do see the OLED bouncing above 60. And here's an area where you see the OLED or the LCD hit 60, but again, just drops pretty much right back down when you see that happen. If we get Deacon off here, let's see if we can just go run for a bit. We are in the open world, so there's not really going to be too much safety because those zombie hordes do come after you pretty often. I will try to run back down the hill and show kind of like zombie encounters. I don't know if we'll be able to fight them off. That becomes pretty tough when we're doing this real-time comparison. Oh, there's a zombie right behind me right now. Which one? This one, on the old one. Oh boy. I'm going to be running all over the place now because I've lost my position. I think I'm close. I think I'm actually a little bit ahead on the LCD. We'll run back down towards the encampment here. See if we can't show a little bit more activity and stuff like that. Oh, now we got a wolf. Jeez, look at everybody. There's a zombie on the LCD. I've just got to run this way because there's a wall. Now we're kind of in the same area. You can see we're down about 5 frames per second, roughly, kind of in a more, I guess, unique environment with the logs and stuff like that. Trying to keep us in the same area. It's kind of tough, though. Oh, I need to turn. Okay, there we go. So we can kind of see. Now we've got a horde behind us. I would love to turn around. I don't know how I can do that. Otherwise, we're going to die. We'll keep running a little bit here just to kind of see the frame rates move. Again, they're very similar. There's not going to be too much change here right now. But let's do this. Let's kind of go back towards them. And kind of see, like, I don't know if I can get out of this or not. Kind of like the battle ensuing. Still in that 50, even with the zombies, kind of around it's holding pretty well. It's not too bad. It's a 50 frame per second experience, roughly. Oh, I think they killed me on the one. Okay. Let's just let them kill me here. There we go. And then we'll let it reset. So, clear out the nests. Should drop me in the exact same spot on both. There we go. So now we see a little bit of the encampment. Again, in that 50 frames per second. I guess we saw maybe a dip of like 40 into the 40s. Maybe. If we're looking up at the sky, we get 60. But I think it was like around 49, 48. It held pretty well at 50, though. Even with the zombies around, it does a pretty good job. Both devices are in a pretty good place with this game. I don't think there's too much to concern with if you buy it on the LCD or if you have an OLED. Again, this all these comparisons are doing is kind of showcasing that, hey, you know, the OLED is got one advantage, definitely, which is the screen. And that really showcases when you're playing first person, or when you're viewing it yourself. It's hard to really show the benefit on the phone that we're using to do this with. But if you're, you know, really looking at it, you're getting a little bit bigger battery. That's your second advantage. And you're getting a little bit more efficient chipset. That's why you see a little bit less battery usage. But overall, the 90 frames per second, I don't know if that's the biggest selling point for me. The chipset and the battery is probably the bigger one, and the OLED screen. The OLED screen is pretty nice. Let's kind of cut this way. So now we're kind of on the road here. I know we have a zombie behind us. We'll just run down a little bit further here where there's cars and stuff like that. This is the environment that you're in. 50 frames per second. Pretty good on low. Now you could get 30 for sure. Whoops, zombie down here. You could definitely get 30 frames per second and do a little bit more in the settings, but I don't think you need to. I think this is a pretty good experience overall. And you'd get the full experience, right? It's not like a little bit of the game. It's the full game, as you would guess, and it's a nice play. So I think we've seen the majority of it. We'll let ourselves die here. But if you have any questions, definitely leave those in the comments. Let me know what you think about, you know, Sony's porting to the Steam Deck and support for that. We've seen a few of their games, probably God of War, Ratchet and Clank, now Days Gone. You know, they're all pretty good experiences. They do have a little bit of a rough start, but like Last of Us, but overall they do get that fixed and they start to perform much better as they do the optimization for these devices. So appreciate everybody for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Love to see you come back, check out more of these. Check out the Weekly Factor on Saturdays, which is a live stream. We take a look at all the different games. Do leave a like on the video. That helps a lot. The like button down below. And then also, like I said, leave your comment on how you think Sony does for these devices here in terms of like their launches of titles. But otherwise, folks, I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.